Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake. What a special episode, because not only is it myself and BBD, we are joined by failed teacher Jolly Olive. Jack Oliver, how are you?
Failed teacher is an awesome intro. I'm good. I've been watching a lot of baseball recently.
Other teams? Have you moved on from Mets baseball?
So many other teams.
That's good.
Basically every
I'm
other
jealous.
team. I tuned into Pirates Tigers the other night. Okay. That was a dark moment for me.
Yeah.
That was dark. No, I'm good. I've been watching a lot of, Cubs, Orioles. It's a little, juicing me. So
I kind of, and maybe I can pitch this idea to you, Jolly. I almost wanted the Yankees to hard sell, lose incredibly, a la your Mets, and then do like a team a week and like bandwagon for a week and be like, hey, this week I'm only watching Cubs.
I like that.
I'm going to appreciate that. So
you should just do it anyway.
I know, but then you're like really committed to that.
Both of our teams are
How do you do the West Coast teams? Do you pick a West Coast team on an East Coast trip? Otherwise, you're ruining your life for a little bit.
It sounds like you have it all figured out.
I know, but we'll see where our Yankees land because we are going to do a tier list. Clickbait.
Tier list.
YouTube, Jolly Olive. No, we did our tier list before the season. Or actually, it was like a week. It was like 2 weeks into the season.
Yeah, we got like a taste of teams.
And we made a tier list.
We did.
You guys liked it because that's what you kids are into these days. And I think we landed on a good list, and it's going to be funny to look back now, check in on ourselves, and critique ourselves. And like you guys mentioned, you were mad at us for not having more on the screen, so we'll try to do that. So to get where you're going, you need to know where you're coming from.
That was deep.
Let's recap what we did, and we'll try not to give too much away. And Jolly, I think we can start at the top.
Okay.
Because this might be our best section.
Because we nailed it, is what you were going to say?
Because we did 7 tiers, 6.5. You'll see why in a second if you didn't check out the episode.
Whoa.
The top tier was win World Series or fail. That makes sense.
I think so.
That makes sense. You understand that. We had the Houston Astros, the Atlanta Braves, and the LA Dodgers. I think some mini snaps for all three of us.
Job well done.
Couple
Nailed
hook,
that.
line, sinkers. All three.
You wish.
The next tier was get to the World Series or fail,
Uh-oh.
where we have the Yankees, the Mets, Phillies, Padres, and Rays. Let's circle on that in a moment. Win a playoff series or fail. So you have some expectations.
Yeah.
You want to be making strides forward. The Toronto Blue Jays, the Minnesota Twins, the Cleveland Guard Dogs, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Seattle Mariners, and your St. Louis Cardinals ended up in this tier. The half tier I mentioned before was mid, especially in April. Boy, was I on a mid kick. And we wanted to pick one team to be mid, and that team was the Chicago White Sox, who have flown down the board in the past couple years. Now, this is a fun one. Wild card would be awesome. The Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Orioles. The Chicago Cubs. The Los Angeles Anaheim Angels of Anaheim, California. The Texas Rangers, and the Boston Red Sox.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I think we did pretty well there.
It's not bad.
But just one big miss.
It would have felt better a week ago. Nobody really knows was your second to last column. That is your Rockies, your Royals, the Miami Marlins, the San Francisco Giants, and the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay.
Which is funny knowing that we did this mid-April, and the Pirates actually kind of got off to a jump.
We were both smart enough.
Fail or fail was the last category, and that was Oakland Athletics, Washington Nationals, Detroit Tigers. Hey, we could have started here. It sounds like we did pretty good. The Cincinnati Reds were on that final tier as we entered the season. The Reds at that point had been well known for someone rumored to poop in their truck. Arguably the most disliked owner in baseball at that time.
I think so.
And their season has gone a lot of different ways. So, Jolly, I've been speaking a lot. I guess as we close a recap on where we started, I guess where do you jump to the most? Because there's some obvious standouts, and it's baseball.
Great question. You have been talking a lot. You know, first of all, I think for the most part that we did okay here for an April list where a lot of things could have gone wrong, where we didn't necessarily play it safe a ton. I think we did okay. I'd say there's probably at least one wrong answer per tier besides like the top one. So that's not great for us, but I also feel like I know exactly where I want to move some teams. Like I feel like I have a pretty clear plan of what I want to do. But I'd say our biggest miss, I think, has to be the Reds, just because that bottom tier is like, we don't think this team has a shot. They're tanking.
Right.
They want a good pick, clear some payroll. And the Reds, you know, they've been skidding a little bit lately, but they're hanging tough. And then I think we undersold the Giants a little bit, maybe the Marlins a little bit. And then, of course, you know, our New York team's at the top.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who our biggest climbers would be. You know, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
They're one that I know has mentally haunted Trev all year, but it's hard to, with the Astros and with the Mariners in that division, never mind the, in theory, Angels that we always want more from. It was hard to picture, like Texas didn't even get lumped into the Mets or Padres or the big free agency teams, even though if you combine their last two seasons, they've been massive free agent players.
Let me ask you this.
Everyone laughed at DeGrom kind of going there. Remember that?
I laughed. I giggled. But Jake, if you say you're a good old Texas boy, you're from Houston, you're from Dallas, whatever, you grew up a Rangers fan, wouldn't you feel ecstatic even if the Rangers fall out of first and end up a wild card team? Isn't that still wild card is awesome? Like, do they move? Are their aspirations higher now? I don't know.
It's interesting, and I'm excited to talk about it because, I think that argument can land a lot of different ways. So, I think it's time to clear the board and bring back the post-trade deadline tier list of the year. I asked Jolly, and he, per usual, copped out. I was like, should we change the categories? Should we do something funky? He thought there would be entertainment value to using the same categories and using that as a juxtaposition.
Comment down below agreeing with me.
Non-failed teacher juxtaposition.
Can't fail if you never try.
Bingo. 1,000% on that. So let's rack them again. Win World Series or fail, get to World Series or fail, win a playoff series or fail, mid, which we traditionally save for last, end the episode instantly as your team brews in that death sauce. Wild card would be awesome. Nobody really knows, fail or fail. Do we start from the bottom? Is that the easiest?
I think we start from the top and just say nothing has changed. That's personally where I was headed, because I don't think anything changes at the top. Am I wrong in saying that? Does anyone get added? I don't think anybody gets added, because no one really feels like they're in that echelon.
The Braves have been the favorites for a while.
Yeah.
Houston, post-trade deadline and with the slowing down of some other AL teams, I think they're the American League favorite. They're defending World Series champions. Dodgers have had such a run of success and have sneaky been the first-place Dodgers again for a while that if they go to a World Series and lose, their fan base will not be happy. In fact, they'll be more angry, which be pretty nice to be a Dodger fan, huh? Damn. Okay, so you want to leave Houston, Atlanta, and the Dodgers at the top. Nobody joining them.
Because you look at the other top teams we have. We have Baltimore, which I don't think any Orioles fan would say we have to win the World Series this year or it's an abject failure, because they think their window is long. You have the Rays, who I think would be happy to just get back there, and we'll expand on that in a little bit. And then what's really left after that? The Giants, the Phillies, the Twins, the Rangers. I think they're all a little bit just a tier below.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple interesting wrinkles here.
Yankees.
That was T. You know that.
You started.
We'll move on.
Trying to keep this low T.
There's a Texas Rangers argument
Okay.
with how good they've been. Run differential. They've been leading the West for a while. They traded for Max Scherzer.
That happened?
Aroldis Chapman. I think Texas Rangers would have an argument for win World Series or fail, but at the same time, if they got to the World Series at the end of this season, I do think you'd say, well, okay.
That's a successful season.
The only other team that I see as a potential wrinkle is an American League team. Did I just lie? I did just lie. It's a National League team.
I didn't see him. Oh, I think I know where you're going. That's
Who would you
interesting.
guess I'm thinking of?
Are you thinking of the Philadelphia Phillies?
I am. Because they did go to the World Series last year.
There's nowhere left to go.
They have been solidly in a playoff spot for a little while now,
10 games over.
right? Like the Phillies kind of had a slow start. I think they started on a 12-game road trip or something like that this
Yeah.
season.
They
Yanks were on there, right?
could not get an East Coast National League series.
It felt like they were always playing catch up for 500. Then they kind of went, and now they've been
They like 3 different times caught 500, then sunk below.
in
But
a
then
year
they
of
went.
in a year of a lot of movement. They've, in a way, stopped moving for a little bit. Now this gets tricky because they could still very much get back in the shit
Yeah.
if they have a couple bad weeks. Do you think they could be win World Series or fail for the Phillies?
They really make things complicated by making the World Series last year when no one really thought they were going to, because on paper this team is good, but they're not going to win their division, and everybody knows that. They're 10 games back, even despite being 10 games over 500. The schedule going forward, it has its ebbs and flows. I see Cardinals, I see Nationals, I see Padres in here, Pirates, Mets. There's a lane for them to be 90-plus wins, feeling very, very good, maybe a top wild card seed heading into the bracket. So I don't want to be biased because I watch a lot of
You're a
MLB
Mets
baseball.
fan.
I have my feelings towards the Mets and the Phillies and the Braves and all that. But yeah, if you put me in the headspace of a Philly fan, just outside Phillies baseball too, big year for them. Eagles in the Super Bowl. Sixers, conference finals. Phillies, World Series. We're setting ourselves up for that expectation in the city of Philadelphia, in the city of brotherly love. We want trophies. So you know what, Jake? I think you've done enough, and I think you've swayed me, and I would be willing to lump your Philadelphia Phillies into our top tier.
Are you sneaky Philly trash?
I've had people reply to me and be like, you want to come over. You know you want to do it.
You'd love it.
I'm not a red. I don't wear a lot of red. This is not red. This is like more pink, salmon, burgundy, not red.
Versions of red. Let's put
Burgundy.
the Phillies up there for now, and we can see how we feel about it.
Tentative,
And we can come back to it.
not committed.
I've put them up there for now.
Astros, Braves, Dodgers, Phillies, win World Series or fail.
Yeah, but then you read those 3 teams and then say the Phillies after, and I'm like,
It does
I don't
feel.
know. It
a
feels
little
like they're a
dirty.
little below. I don't know. We'll come back. We'll circle back.
You're right. The Dodgers have set a very funky bar for themselves because
Yes.
they've been to a lot of World Series. They won one in a year that people don't believe in as much as other things at this point. I'm not taking it away, but for this Dodgers era to feel a lot more whole,
They got to get a real one.
your words, not mine.
The bracket itself, one of the hardest ever to win the World Series in. It's more for me the 60-game season that led to it. That's all.
And I guess talking myself off the ledge slightly about the Texas Rangers, if they went to the World Series this year, Scherzer's back next year, right?
Yep.
They'd lose Jordan Montgomery, who they also traded for.
He's going to get a nice 4-year deal.
But otherwise, in theory, there's a chance DeGrom's back end of next year.
End of next year.
End of the year.
They're not really losing anyone else.
Beebs hit the passing button. I think we got some
Martin
news.
Perez is hitting free agency, but he's not really part of it.
Awesome.
Mets are calling up Ronnie Mauricio.
Don't. Jesus. Next. We didn't need that.
Congrats, man. That's exciting for you.
That's your Everson Pereira news. All right, that's the same thing.
Maybe Jack.
I don't. Don't talk to me about Everson.
We would
Pereira.
love.
It's the same thing.
Would love.
I'd
if
love
we
to
could
check.
watch.
I would love to check him out. He also just got to AAA.
I would love to watch other players play baseball. Jack Leiter, does he show up next year?
Whoa.
So yeah, I think Texas Rangers, for how dominant and good you've been, and by the way, Texas and Seattle still sneaky in striking range. I'm gonna leave them off. So get mad, Rangers fans.
But I think they kick off our next tier.
Can we jump down? I want to meet in the middle again.
I do kind of want to fill in the bottom.
Okay.
A little bit. That's easy.
Fail or fail?
You've always been a bottom guy.
Okay.
The first two members of this are easy.
Yeah.
We will
need to discuss.
We can remove the Reds. The Athletics, fail or fail.
Yep.
What a pick.
Are the Nats fail or fail?
Yes.
Stop, Jake.
I guess that answered
We don't have
it.
time to talk
Yeah,
about
we don't have time to fully break down this.
I can't believe you pitched
You guys
that.
being in sync there. I mean, they're climbing the bottom of the NL standings.
Next.
Is Lane Thomas a cornerstone piece?
Detroit Tigers.
Sure, they're
feel like
still
this.
fail or
No
fail.
way are we talking about the Nationals right now. You guys
No.
are crazy.
Detroit Tigers are fail or fail.
Yeah.
Yes. Big time.
Royals. Failure.
Royals are fail.
Royals are fail.
They
or
probably
fail.
should have been there in the first place. If we're
We were.
being
I think
honest.
we were being generous.
we were being really
Man,
nice.
The baseball season has a lot of different paths. It really felt like Kansas City had a chance for Melendez, Pasquantino, Nick Prado now, Fermin. Like, didn't have him in my book, but it just felt like if a lot of things went the Royals' way in an AL Central that is truly bad, it could have felt a lot better. It does not.
There could have been a world where they were teasing 500 this year, and
I mean, this was supposed to be
wouldn't
a
have
step
been-
forward.
we
this
wouldn't
year.
have been shocked.
They don't have a top 100 prospect. And they're the second worst team in baseball.
Is that good or bad?
I think I'm no scientist. I'm no Keith Law, but I think that's bad. They're in a tough spot.
We had hopes for this year, them being like a surprise. There kind of wasn't a guy who was a long-term ad to be had at the deadline, but I had hopes for this year them being a sneaky team that gets involved in someone.
You want a sneaky, fun
That's like
take?
a
I felt like the
long-term
Royals
take.
could have had a
Yeah.
nice 78-win season.
Definitely. Not
Shane
there.
McClanahan out for the season.
Sheesh. Does that change where we rank the Rays?
Good.
I don't think so.
Does that round out the bottom? Rockies should be there. It's insane that we didn't put the Rockies
I was
there.
going to ask.
It's tough because the next column is nobody really knows, and with the Rockies, nobody really knows, fail or fail.
They're failing.
You know?
For me. Like, I don't think they care. Because
They
I think
don't.
people show up at the ballpark every day.
The record is bad.
I don't blame the people, by the way. Beautiful ballpark in the middle of the town. Cheap
Great
beer.
city.
They called up Cole Tucker.
I called up Coach Sark.
Finally submerged.
I was going
Wild
to tag
card
you in
would
that,
be
but I was like,
awesome.
he'll
That
see
took
it.
too long.
Wild card would be awesome.
Imagine if they just rip off 20 in a row.
They are fail or fail.
If they win
Rocktober.
out, yeah.
Are there any other team? I mean, White Sox fail or fail?
You know,
There's an argument.
We can talk about it.
It's weird because at this point in the season,
They don't care.
Their season is over. It is the third worst record in the
It feels like
AL.
it's really tricky with White Sox and like Pirates. Pirates had a nice start.
Like if we put Detroit down there, we have to put the White Sox down there because the White Sox are below Detroit. And they've been way more of a dumpster fire this year.
Right, but nobody really knows could be more of a dumpster fire.
I would be more inclined to put the Tigers and nobody really knows rather than the White Sox.
I remember during Treadline season, we were talking about, Tigers.
White Sox
Had a chance to be interesting. I think
They
are.
traded away 5 MLB players.
And they're trending down.
They are now fail or fail.
They're going back to the
conceded
cellar.
that themselves.
Like Tigers, you have Riley Green, Torkelson. Like there's
They have
some
the kids
light.
that you're supposed to be interested in.
Erod wanted to stay. Like there are things.
Erod didn't want to stay. Erod wanted more money.
Now it feels like we're putting words in.
He wanted a year and money lopped onto that deal.
Let's
Which I get.
leave.
I'm going White Sox down below, Tigers 1 up.
I put the white. You want the Tigers up?
I'm not against Tigers up.
Tarek Skubal
I'll
has
put
been
the
really
Tigers
good.
up. I'll put the Tigers
For
up.
now.
For now.
Yeah.
They
We
could go
can-
back down.
No one's
instantly.
married to it.
Fail or fail right now. Oakland Athletics, Nationals, Royals, Rockies, White Sox. That's a bad group of franchises.
That
huh?
sounds right to me.
Holy cow. Oof.
Tough.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof. Let's get positive again.
Okay.
Because the category below win World Series or fail is get to World Series or fail. Where a reminder, we had Yankees, Mets, Phillies, Padres, and the Rays. I think I have good news. We already talked about them a lot, so we don't really need to. The Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
The expectation has changed. You traded for
100%.
Max Scherzer. You've been awesome throughout this year. The Texas Rangers' expectation is to get to the World Series. Hey, Chris Young. Nolan Ryan, does he still hang out there?
I think he hangs out.
I think he's got like a,
He's still like one of those front 2 seats, right?
like when the Royals were in the playoffs and they'd show George Brett clapping. That
Yeah.
feels like Nolan Ryan
Okay.
with the Rangers.
So he still has that.
Yeah.
So you don't have them as win a playoff series?
Rangers are top 2 seed.
I think
in the
Max
AL.
Scherzer changes that. I think you trade for Max Scherzer.
Like you traded a prospect that is
Yeah.
likely going to be in the major leagues next season.
Well, we don't know if any prospect will ever make the major leagues. The prospect could flame out instant.
What's the letter that I'm forming? It's a T.
I don't, if we didn't know his brother, what would we be saying about
That's
him?
a T.
What would we be saying about
It's
him?
a T, Jake.
You're a prospect till you're not.
Max exit velocity of 111, Jake.
That's
That's special.
We watched Judge and Stanton. That number doesn't mean anything to me.
Did you watch Stanton run the other day? You started it.
but accurate.
Got scared.
Texas
If Texas's season flounders a little bit, there's a chance that moves, but we're doing it now.
Jake,
We're
do you,
doing
want,
it.
do you want me to drop a bomb?
Can I guess your bomb?
I don't think you will, but you can guess it.
I would guess your bomb is the Baltimore Orioles, because in a way they've been just as dominant.
So I think that they should be up here, but that's not my bomb.
Okay.
My bomb is that the San Diego Padres remain here. They have not had a good season. They bought in at the deadline after going in all in this offseason. And last year, they made it to the NLCS. In my mind, them either getting out at the NLCS again or winning a series and then bustering out before that is a failure. Even considering where they are now. Because, in my mind, I still think Padres fans have all along thought we need to get to the World Series this year.
You think if with the current path of this Padres team, who last episode, I'm not sure if my soul believes in, but my baseball mind says there's enough here to still back the Padres between run differential, between the teams ahead of them. You don't think at this point in the season, the sub 500 Padres, 55 and 58?
I think so.
You're telling me they could go to the NLCS this season, currently under 500, And Padres fans would be disappointed in that. That's a tough argument for me, Joel.
All I'm saying is you have the Cy Young on your team, Blake Snell.
Potentially.
You have the run differential that you were talking about. And for me, they got there last year. It's the same problem as the Phillies in my mind, but a tier below. Because I would never normally put the Phillies with those three teams, but because they just won the pennant last year, their goal this year should be World Series or bust. Same with the Padres. The fact that you made it to the end, nearly achieved your goal, and came up 3 games short.
Can we come back to the Padres?
We can come back.
Because, and I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty well trained in the court of law. I think when you see the other teams on get to the World Series or bust, I think the Padres will look gaffable.
Give me those other
and
teams.
I don't think that's even a word.
Give me them. Rays.
The Rays are still get to the World Series or bust. Even with the Shane McClanahan news, Glasnow's there. They traded Savale, Eflin. And the Rays don't even care about starting pitching, and they still hit enough.
Yep.
For how good the Rays were early on the season, they're get to the World Series or bust.
Orioles, right? It feels weird, though, because I feel like Baltimore would be really happy with even a playoff series win.
Baltimore fans would tell you right now, no.
Because they're riding high.
If the Baltimore Orioles, who came into this season, and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to be, Angelos keeps eyes on me too. I think if at the end of this season, the Orioles, they win an ALDS and they lose in the ALCS.
To probably the Astros.
With this young core, there's no way you could tell me this season's a disappointment.
That's the tough part, but they don't feel like they should be a tier below just because of how good they've been. Which is why this tier list is great. Because it makes it so challenging.
I'm getting a little sick. I
don't know.
Rangers, Rays. I don't see an argument against either of them. Their teams start off the same way.
Rangers, Rays.
Is there another team that has we need to get to the World Series?
God. Right now.
I don't think so.
That's why I think the Padres should be there.
I understand the argument.
But you can't put the Padres above the Orioles.
And I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the Padres as well.
Let's move on for now.
Let's move on for now.
We have to circle
There
back.
will be some shuffling to the
Yes.
top.
Yes.
Because, I even think, nobody really knows.
I think it's going to be crowded. Nobody really knows.
I mean, shit's already crowded.
You want to start hot?
I don't go to tiermaker.com a ton as much as I'd like.
He lives there.
So I clicked on Tiermaker Baseball and it basically had half of last year's list. So I'm like kind of sorting through that.
Okay.
Let's do a fun one.
Okay.
I know we're getting a little hobgoblin around going.
That's how it goes.
Buy some merch. I'm wearing a shirt. Jolly's wearing a shirt. BBD's wearing a jersey that I think it's still
available.
I think you can still purchase that.
Bannered.
Sure
Not
is.
this jersey, but this franchise.
Yeah. Congrats. Wild card would be awesome.
Oh.
That's still fun, right?
Very fun.
And in this category, reminder, we had Diamondbacks, who I think will be back.
I think we can leave him there.
I think
Let's put them there right now.
I think we can end that discussion. I know it's been an ugly couple weeks.
But still,
Wild card
that
would still
stands.
be awesome for the Snakes.
they're 2 games out.
And good on us for last time. We were optimistic for
We
them.
believed.
At the time, that was considered a very kind rating by us.
They could have
Right.
easily
And
been
we're
nobody
still
really
right.
knows. Easily.
Cubbies, I think, stay. They
Yes.
added at the deadline. They thought they were going to be selling.
We did well here.
If
We
they
did well.
get some wild card games, I think they're hype.
2 weeks ago, they might be a tier below.
It could have been a nobody really knows.
Right now,
Yes, they were the nobody really knows.
right now they might win the NL Central.
Crooked Ways Band just went live on Instagram. I'll see you guys in a minute.
Holy fuck.
Another team that I think stays, I guess you guys can call me out, but are the Angels wild card would be awesome, or
Yes,
have we
they are.
moved
Yes.
past that? Okay.
Because they bought.
Okay.
They're not
They
expecting
just
to
need
win
to
the
get
West.
Shohei in a game that matters.
Yep. That's the goal. Get
Right.
a playoff highlight with
Right.
Shohei in it and in your uniform. That's the
Yes.
goal.
Okay. No, I
Sell some
agree.
jerseys before you leave.
I
They're
agree.
11 and a half games
It
back in the
feels
West.
spiritually wrong a little bit, but I agree. The other two teams, Texas Rangers, we've already elevated them.
Yep.
The Boston Red Sox,
I think they stay.
okay.
I don't think they expect to win the East, so I'm clapping.
Okay.
I think that's my lean as well.
You can't
There's a-
put them
they
in,
might-
nobody really knows.
They might end up nobody knowing.
They could be, nobody really knows.
If they're nobody really knows, that also means the Yankees are nobody really knows.
They
I'm not
could.
sure anybody really knows.
And I was just about to say, they're both candidates for mid as well.
Yeah, we have to think about that. We can't use up all the teams.
well, we can move
can
them
move
at the
around,
end.
but-
We move a guy. we move
I'll-
that in here.
I'll
Just
leave.
remember.
I will leave the Sox on wild card. Would be awesome for now, because it would be.
It would be.
This was
They're
supposed to be a
alive.
building year for the Sox. If they get hot at this point in the season,
You're 5 games back right now. If you make up those 5 games and sneak into the 6, that would be awesome.
Their
now
expectations for this year are different as well.
yeah, this is where this season really kicks into gear, because I have a team that we can elevate easily.
I think I'm with you.
I mean, just looking at nobody really knows the first team from last year, the Miami Marlins.
I thought you were going to go Giants first, but yes, Marlins.
I think they
I
both
wasn't
could be.
with
Yeah.
either of those, but yes.
But Marlins,
I think
tough
if
skid right
I think
now.
if they are in a tough skid. So are the
So
Angels.
the Angels, yeah, that's true. So yeah, Marlins and
Marlins,
Giants.
you're
I think
in.
they both go
Marlins
up.
and Giants, right? If either of those fan bases,
They replace Orioles and Rangers for me.
Giants have an interesting asterisk. Are they starting to get wide-eyed? They've been in-
51.
They've been in the
this
playoff
spot.
picture for a little bit.
Yeah, but after not making it last year, it's got to be stepping stones.
Win a playoff series?
That I could talk about.
I-
That I could definitely talk
I
about.
could
Because putting the Giants
I
and
could
the
be there
Marlins-
with them, but
Giants feel a tier above Marlins and Angels and Cubs.
I'm going to elevate the Giants for now, and then if we need to bring them back, we can.
to playoff series.
To win a playoff series or fail.
I would like to have some teams.
I think
in that.
that's
I'm
I
interested.
think that's a
Start
that's,
filling.
That's
it
a
in.
city and an org that has some expectations. I think if they got to a wild card and lost, they wouldn't feel fail, which is the category. Okay, let's come back.
Fail.
Let's come back. Let's come back.
For now, I like that spot for them.
Wild card would be awesome.
I think I do have.
What do
another
you
team.
have, BBD?
It's another team we would be elevating.
Okay.
The Reds.
Oh,
They're still. I
The
think
Reds.
that's still the mindset
Yes.
there.
the Reds.
Yes, they're
Yes.
still so young. I know the Magic feels like it's run out, but yes,
Wild card is crowded.
if Cincinnati makes a wild card team, that place would be berserk.
They're going to still consider that a wild success. They were fail or fail.
Yeah, they got to jump.
They didn't do Chris
Yeah.
Rose's add Shohei Ohtani and change their formula for this year. Like
Sick.
they're still there.
I think I have another, and this may be a little controversial.
Whoa. Don't say it.
The Seattle Mariners, at this point in the season, they soft sold.
They did.
This was supposed to be a big year for them. That at this point in the season, would getting back into the playoffs be a success? Back-to-back playoffs for a franchise that hadn't been there a lot. I know the bar has dropped significantly. This was a team that wasn't in it for a little bit. It feels like if they get back in the playoffs at this point in the season, it would really change their bar for next year at this point.
Consistent playoff success one thing. Making it to the dance after, 21 years of not getting to October baseball? 2 years in a row. Substantial. That being said, I think I have them staying put.
They're still win a playoff series or fail?
Only because of how they went out last year.
I can be talked into that.
How many close games they dropped to their rival and how good their path could be if they're the 6th seed, playing the Twins and then maybe the Rangers after.
Okay.
I think nothing's concrete, but I think Seattle fans are drawing up that scenario where they can Cinderella run into the playoffs, get 2 favorable matchups, and go farther than they did last year.
Okay. I'm not closed off to it.
There's a lot. Seattle and Giants are very interesting to me.
I think wild card would be awesome. I'm good at for a minute, and I think the Mariners argument, especially if I'm considering elevating the Giants to win a playoff series, right. I think I'm good with that.
Yep.
Let's get ugly for the last little bit of this show.
I was gonna say I think there's a few teams that nobody really knows about that we can do fairly quick.
Warning: if you have children in the car and you don't want them saying the word toxic for a little bit,
I would never.
Look out. Nobody really knows. We currently elevated Detroit and Pittsburgh. Or not necessarily elevated.
But did we place Pittsburgh and nobody knows yet?
Pittsburgh stays put.
They were there previously.
I was going to swiftly place them there now. So
yes.
I think they can stay for now.
I mean, they have the same record
garbage.
As another team that I'm going to put there.
I will ask you a question, Jolly.
Yeah.
Are the New York Mets and nobody really knows?
They 100% are in nobody really knows because I'm pretty sure nobody really knows what the plan is. There is a plan for 2 years in time, maybe. I don't think the plan is for next year.
Our last year and a half.
Our last leak is from Scherzer, and that who knows what kind of funny business that necessarily was, but Ronnie Mauricio just got called up. So
apparently he didn't, though, because Bob lied and misread a report, so who the fuck knows?
Did you break fake Mets news on my program?
Cross that off my bucket list. Yeah, Mets are in nobody really knows.
Can I do the Cardinals and nobody talks about it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Drop that. Yankees. Where do they go? Are they still wild card would be awesome? I'm going to ask you as Yankee fans because I've heard this a lot. Because if the Yankees break their winning season streak this year and they don't make the playoffs, I think you could both agree that things would probably change in the organization in some capacity.
Winning season streak, yes. Not make the playoffs, no.
So in that case, would the wild card be awesome if the Yankees got in and then lost and then nothing changed? Would it be awesome?
Are you asking the Yankees or are you asking?
I'm asking
There
you.
is one key word that's changing the answer. The final word in that row is awesome.
Yeah.
Would the Yankees be making the wild card be awesome? Fucking no. Almost a level of torture.
Because
that means we're going to run everything back next year.
That's what I'm saying. I don't feel comfortable.
And what's their actual hope? So no.
The only other answer is you put them in win a playoff series or fail. I don't think they're capable of doing that. Not even to be T right now. Just watching them play.
If we're being honest, I don't want to jump ahead to mid, but they have a very good chance.
They have a very compelling
because I
case for
think
mid.
someone tweeted out, and I don't know if it's accurate, but I think in their last 201 games, they're 100 and 101.
You want to add to that? They have a run differential of 0. Quite literally, mid.
I don't want to put them there yet.
They have a case.
So you know what that word means to me, but
they certainly have a case.
They have a chance. I have another team that's definitely between nobody really knows and mid, the Cleveland Guardians.
I think they're nobody really knows. I think wild card is out the window.
Traded away Savale.
You sold.
Bieber, McKenzie are out. The offense hasn't really been real all year.
You've lost 8 of 10.
Chris Rose is sad.
They're nobody really knows for me.
That works.
Bang.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did the math work out again so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
With where I think these teams are going to land, I think we're very close
15, 15,
to
16,
above
17.
mid, below
okay.
mid.
So
even number of teams in total.
Love
so
that.
one will technically.
I don't have it in
more.
front of me, so I'm trusting you guys. But I think, based
1,
on
2,
what I
3,
remember,
4, 5, 6,
I know wild card's crowded, but I think we're going to probably promote the Giants and the Mariners, right?
I have Giants and Mariners, and this is where we're jumping to next.
Yeah.
And I'm glad nobody really knows didn't get too toxic yet.
No.
I guess we did skip Cardinals talk. Mariners and Giants currently elevated to win a playoff series or fail. We talked about that a little bit.
Yep.
Mariners expectations coming into the season. I think Giants fans, that's a winning area, like you referenced with Philadelphia. San Francisco has pretty good sports success recently. They've been in the playoffs pretty locked in for a little bit.
I'm saying it mostly just because of the way they went out last time. The check swing, you go out in 5 against your rival in a season where
That
you
season
beat
to end
them.
that way.
Okay.
You want to get back and you want to win a playoff series. With a lot
They're
of the
not
same
saying
guys.
it'll be awesome if they make the wild card.
Yeah.
So I do have, and these were up for conversation before. Currently in that row, I do have the Padres and the Orioles, which are interesting case studies, and
Very
maybe we
interesting.
circle back again in a second. Because I do think these other ones are somewhat layups.
I mean, the Twins are the definition of this tier.
Mm-hmm.
They are the definition.
They need to win a playoff series.
Straight up.
Yes.
It doesn't even matter if you get
The
swept
town-
in the CS.
The town would be a festival.
Yeah.
If they win a 3-game wild card, 2 out of 3 games, Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray, Duran, figure it out.
Do it for Kirk.
I can't
First
believe
playoff series they win being just get them back to the DS is
That would
also just
suck.
funny.
It's really tough.
But yes, I'm upset with us that we didn't start there with that tier.
yeah, I mean, they're...
Griffin Jacks.
Whoa. Griffin Jacks drop? Brock Stewart?
The Toronto Blue Jays.
I have them staying.
I have them staying. They've been firmly third place since the Yankees' demise. They have yet to threaten Tampa. They have yet to threaten the Orioles. And with their lack of playoff success, they need a win.
Yeah.
They're not content with just being there.
And for them to say they have genuine World Series aspirations is nice. Every team wants that. If this team were to go to the ALCS, that would be
Big dub.
massive for
Big
the Blue
dub.
Jays.
It may not feel like it, but that's the progress they've been seeking since 2021, if we're being completely honest about it.
Ever since the trailer.
And you know what? I like them having Brandon Belt and like Paul DeYoung on their roster. A couple guys that have been there.
Talk
Done
about
it.
watching other baseball teams. You mentioned your Metropolitans. Have you with a wandering eye? Your 1 and 2 hitters for the Toronto Blue Jays last night. Number 2 was Brandon Belt.
Nice.
Number 1 was Davis Schneider.
I've heard that he's been very, very hot.
That was your 1 and 2 for the Toronto Blue Jays last night.
Hmm.
Just a little something
Spark
to
plug.
put in your pipe and smoke it.
Spark plug.
Good for the kid. The other team, the only team that I think isn't fully on the board.
I have 3 teams that on my tier list, which is the one that is going on screen, have not technically been placed. 2 of them we've bantered about and are going to make a decision soon. Padres, Orioles.
Okay.
Yeah,
And the other one, which for me I think is an easy placement, is the Milwaukee Brewers.
they're here.
Yeah.
I think
They're right.
They were there and they are here.
Yeah.
So
We did well here,
good
too.
job on
If
that.
we're being
Good job
honest,
on
we
us
did
there.
well
yeah,
here, too.
the Blue Jays, the Brew Crew, and the Mariners stay. They say Minnesota? Yeah.
Yep.
The Cardinals fell off.
Whoa.
Might have heard about that. Guard Dogs, same.
So now we need to have the Padres and Orioles discussions. Giants and
And then the
Mariners landed
vaunted
here as
mid.
well, right? They're winning playoff series.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Giants and Mariners are currently in this category.
This is hard.
If we
Padres,
each
Orioles currently unplaced.
if we each had to elevate one team between the Padres and the Orioles, I believe we would both pick the Padres, which feels slightly disgusting.
I don't.
Because one team has been nothing but fantastic this entire season. Another team has been nothing but sub-mid. But expectations are a very big part of this.
Yeah.
And the Padres, they soft bought. They went to the CS last year.
Expectations are important.
They've hard bought in the past couple off seasons. If I had to elevate one of those teams, which I feel like we do, because it's the longest column on the sheet.
It's
you
too
can't
crowded.
have that.
It's too crowded.
I guess it's elevate the Padres, and now the graphic comments are in hot.
How many teams are in get to World Series or fail?
3 are in get to World Series, 4 are in win World Series.
Read me get to World Series.
Rangers, Rays, Padres.
Put the Orioles there too. I think they both get promoted. The Orioles did the most buying they've done in 10 years. And it's not a ton. It was Flaherty and Fujinami, but clearly they believe in this team, and it feels disgusting.
Flaherty's a real deadline ad.
It's a real deadline ad, and it feels gross to put them in win a playoff series or fail, even if that's the abject truth. It just feels gross.
Golly, you know it hurts my soul a little bit to say this, but you're right. Why would that hurt my soul?
To add that lead in, that's tea.
Felt like it didn't need that.
Didn't need it at all.
It's kind of high tea.
Very high.
So
Still got to pick mid.
Let's see what we need to sift through. Astros, Braves, Dodgers, Phillies. Phillies was the only controversy, but I think there's a compelling argument.
Do we downgrade the Phillies?
I could.
I want it to be right because we're not going to do it again this year. I want it to be right.
If the Phillies get to the World Series this season, is their season a success?
I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of like the 2011 Texas Rangers, the 2018 Dodgers. Those teams lost the year before.
They had not won yet.
Climbed the mountain back.
Made it back.
And lost again. Were those seasons failures?
Because Braves, Houston Dodgers have all won it. We understand why they are win or fail.
They finished the fight.
But you don't have to be going for it again to be in that tier.
Right? Like,
here's what I'll say.
Hate it.
I'm new to tier lists. I'm old. I may look young and sexual, but I'm old.
You're old and sexual.
If you took the Phillies off the board, dramatic effect, BBD.
Boom.
And then you looked back at the board and you said, do I put the Phillies with?
You don't want to know what just happened on the tier list.
You almost just lost.
I yanked them off the board, and they were placed in mid.
Oh,
I tried to just drop them. I tried to just drop
Now we're
them
getting
on the bottom.
No,
I tried to just unplace them.
If I
didn't like it.
If I told you, do the Phillies belong with these two groups? The Astros, the Braves, and the Dodgers? Or do the Phillies belong with the Rangers, Rays, Padres, and Orioles? The answer is quite simple.
Yes. I think we move them down.
Phillies.
I'm sorry I had to start that hard conversation.
It's not wrong. I mean, I now am putting it together that was a long ruse by you to be toxic to Philly
What
fans. Because you were the one that wanted to promote them earlier. I'm now seeing what that whole thing was.
Every time he tells me not to be T, he ends up being the more T of the two of us.
And that's pretty malicious.
I did make them the front of that tier.
Good.
I feel good about win World Series or fail.
I think I do
Those
too.
three stand out.
Bang, bang.
Yep.
Get to
And
the
it
World-
makes us so right from before.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Get to the World Series or fail. Texas Rangers, the Rays, the Padres, the Orioles, and the Phillies. If there's a team that feels like an outlier, it would be San Diego.
But it's right. I think it's right.
But I think it's right.
They were supposed to be the best team in the National
They're
League.
supposed to be nasty.
I think we get to end of November, we think back on the season. If they
make the wild card, there will be such a Padres hype train that
For that
You know,
week, it'll be great.
We've got a rotation. We got Hader on the back end. We have this lineup.
They're built for it.
Okay.
They're built for it.
They just need to make the playoffs.
They got to get there, but they're built for it.
I
think they will.
Okay.
God, they're so far behind.
Is there any argument? I'm trying to be as neutral as I can on this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even say it with a straight face. Could the Yankees win a playoff series or fail?
You know where I stand. Because you say the Yankees get the 6th seed, the wild card, they beat the Twins like they always do.
As is tradition.
As is tradition. And then they lose in the ALDS. Is that a successful season to you?
No.
It's not.
No.
And that's what the path is if they get the 6th seed.
Even if they got past that and then they win the DS lineup, let's say they lose to Houston in the CS again. Like they won a real playoff series. We're not calling that a success.
No, you won the ALDS last year.
I
think I know where I want the
to be absolute clickbait, but I think the answer is presented right in front of us. If the Boston Red Sox made the wild card series, their fan base would give a half thumbs up. We want to do a lot more, but this was supposed to be a progress year. There were some signs of progress.
They also
that,
didn't
for
make
this
it.
year. That matches what they kind of wanted to do.
They also didn't make it last year.
The Cleveland Guardians are unfortunately a horrible case of nobody really knows because that's where they're at.
That's how
Truly
they operate.
unknown.
Cardinals, Mets, Pirates, Tigers.
Woof.
So then its wild card would be awesome. Are the Diamondbacks mid?
They have a
There's
case,
a conversation.
But, I mean, they were leading the NL West for, 2.5, 3 months?
In a way, their season's already a success.
Kinda, yeah, really, it is.
I think they're a fairly firm wild card would be awesome. They would be my next candidate for mid.
I think they're
three
expecting a
teams
winning
I'm sort
season.
of considering.
If I had 4 candidates for mid, they would be the Yankees and the Red Sox,
Yeah,
the Angels and the Marlins.
yeah.
Oh.
You know?
You can argue...
Like, in a way, the
Reds.
Marlins...
You can argue Reds a little bit, but I wouldn't put them there. Feels like
Their season's already a success.
Success.
Their season's already a success.
You don't have Cubs in this conversation.
I don't want to say their season's already a success. It's already a step up from last year.
All right. So who'd we said Cubs, we said Yankees, we said Red Sox, we said Marlins, and who's the 5th one?
I broke it down to 4.
4.
Halos.
I have Halos in the conversation.
Halos.
4
Fish,
of those
Yankees,
5
Red
teams
Sox.
would be very, very happy with a wild card. Am I wrong?
No.
Angels would be happy. Marlins would be happy. Red Sox would be happy.
I think all 3 of them are taking wild card. If you could,
Reds would
if
be happy.
You could ask them if they'd
Cubs
sign up
would
right
be
now.
happy. The answer's in front of us.
It's right in front of us.
It's
Jake, it's right in front of us.
the Yankees are mid.
My last thing I will put on the table. Is there any chance that the Chicago Cubs, and I don't want to be too much of a victim of the moment, would win a playoff series or fail?
They have high aspirations.
I think they are the
talent.
favorites to win the Central now.
You've piqued my interest a little bit because I haven't thought about it that way.
The Brewers are 62% to win the Central.
They're 2.5 out of the Central.
2.5 out of the Central. They're 45.9% to make the playoffs.
They did just lose by 9 runs to the worst Mets team I've ever seen. But that's just one game.
Inspiring.
If they make the playoffs, it's a win.
It's a win. They don't have to win a series. They haven't been back since 2020. They haven't really, really been back since 2018.
It pains me to say this. The New York Yankees are mid.
It's just obvious.
It was right in front of us.
That was our follow-up tier list with Jolly Olive. Go watch and follow all of his ships on YouTube and Twitter, maybe Instagram. I don't know.
A little bit Instagram.
Threads. Thank you. We'll see you guys Monday. We'll see how much we regret it. Leave 1,000 comments.
Subscribe.